Good evening. Welcome to Alameda County Giving Back Program. It's a wonderful program that we have this evening with my co-host Bonnie Lacey, and I'm Sandra Pitts Johnson. Welcome. This evening we have empowerment.
Yes.
And Anthony Williams is the name of Mr. Empowerment, and we have Mr. Clint, Brother Clint, that is going to be joining him. How are both of you doing?
Lovely. Thank you for having me.
I love your name, empowerment. That is something that shows strength and courage and just what you are as the strong African man. And can you tell me about yourself, huh, Bonnie?
Yeah.
It's just wonderful that we're here.
Tell us about, give us the name of your program and how you got started.
Okay. So, Empowerment Yoga. Empowerment Yoga, the idea was born in 1988. So, I was a student at Tufts University in Cambridge, Medford. And I was very angry at that time of my life. I was at what I felt very racist university, so I didn't really know how to deal with the racism that was coming at me, and so I was acting out, I was fighting, I was going head to head with professors, and so really bad time. And by my junior year, as I was walking across campus, a black woman professor by the name of Pearl T. Robinson, a mother figure on campus, she saw this black man walking across this white campus angry. My horns were out, the fire was coming out of my nose, and so she knew I was about to do something, and so she said, young man, come to my office. So I went to her office, and as soon as I walked in the door, she asked me, have you ever thought about going to Africa? And so this is someone I had great respect for. And the question startled me, and I was like, what did you say? She said, have you ever thought about going to Africa? And I hadn't thought about it, but I knew that was what I needed to do. I needed to get out of that university. I needed to get out of Cambridge. I needed to get out of Massachusetts, out of America. And so I actualized that idea. She gave me a program to apply to, and I went to, that summer I was in Kenya. I went to Kenya to build a school in Rural Village. And that experience started me on this yoga journey. And just really, the yoga means really just acknowledgement and love and shifting your consciousness. And so that started in 1988. And when I was there and experiencing love from my brothers and sisters, I realized that us black folks, especially black men, need this knowledge. Yes. So in that village in Maraf, I turned 22, and I told myself I was going to bring this to my people, especially black men. So that idea was born in 1988, which is now Empowerment Yoga.
Right, and now Empowerment Yoga that you are sharing with the young African American men in juvenile hall is powerful. I've observed your class and see how you are stern, firm, and really and truly focused on trying to get them to feel what it is to be a strong man, an African American man. And I just really and truly, just congratulate you and thank you for bringing that.
No, thank you.
And could you tell us about your life? Where were you born? We know how it started, but we need to know about your starting.
So I was born in Stamford, Connecticut. I was raised a foster child. I spent all of 6 months with my real mother. I just met my real father like 4 years ago.
Wow.
So born in Connecticut and spent brief time in Mississippi, my first about 4 years in Mississippi. Then I came back up north and became a foster child. So I grew up a foster child in Stamford, Connecticut. Was always ambitious, always did my work. I was mischievous, but I always did my work. And the beautiful thing about my foster child experience was the person that raised me, Mary C. Harris, may she rest in peace, she was an illiterate woman, but she was no nonsense, and she was all about getting your lesson because she wasn't able to get her lesson.
She wanted you to have something.
So she was all about business. And so, and working with the kids, kids, I have ADHD, they have this, they have that. I was diagnosed with ADHD back at that time.
She wasn't
And
having it.
She was not having
Oh,
it. It was
yes,
funny,
I
when I
love
got
it.
home, I was cured.
I bet you.
yeah.
Every time I came home, I was absolutely
yeah, she
cured.
was
But when
not
I was
having
at school, I could play this and that. So, yeah, because of her, I'm definitely where I am today in terms of really just getting my lesson and really knowing how to center myself and really go for what I need to go for, especially as a black man. So that's
Your empowering story needs to be told.
Yeah.
And
And you know what? There's a judge that grew up in the foster system that practices in Alameda County. Fascinating. She grew up
And he
as
was a foster child?
She
Oh, she
was a foster child, and now she's a judge.
I think what's her name?
Trina Stanley.
Okay.
I've heard that
That's
name.
And
Yeah.
she's very,
She's
very open
outstanding.
and outstanding. You need to meet her.
Yes.
yes,
Yeah.
for real, and have some real
Conversations.
interchanging,
Right.
Dynamic.
What's her name again?
experiences.
Trina Stanley.
Trina
Trina
Stanley.
Thompson Stanley.
Trina
Okay.
Thompson
Yeah,
Stanley.
she's,
She's a judge?
Thompson
She's a
now.
judge.
She dropped the
Wow.
Stanley.
She dropped this. Okay.
Yeah, she
She's
dropped the Stanley.
fascinating.
Yeah.
She is.
Sounds like
And Brother Clint.
Yeah.
Brother Clint, I am actually a student of Empowerment Yoga. I met Anthony some years ago, and I was having some issues with my body. And so I thought yoga would be a way to get back in touch with my body and
In
feel my
tune,
body
right.
and tune it up so it wouldn't hurt me all the time and like that. And I don't know, it was just so simple, his approach in regards to my body and my practice. It was like the way he spoke about it, it was my practice, you know, and and it kind of tripped me out how he used to be like,
Individualized, huh?
man, you know what I mean? Oh, I practice every day. You know, when he started fussing at me about not handling my business, it was like, man, that's your practice, and that's what you need to do. You need to practice that. And so it's a part of my waking ritual, and I've incorporated a lot of the things that Anthony shares with us, with the children that I meet in my work. I work with children at Lafayette Elementary School with the 180-degree program.
I know Lafayette.
Yeah, and we do social emotional learning.
That's
and it's
wonderful.
fifth graders, so
Yes.
we spend a lot of time educating the children's heads, their brains, but not so much their minds or their hearts or their soul, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Because your brain is just the onboard computer, and it's really not even that smart. Your brain will believe whatever you tell it. If you tell your brain, you stupid, your brain believes that you're stupid. If you tell your brain, you are a genius, no one is greater or smarter than you. Your brain believes you are a genius and no one is greater or smarter than you. Your brain is just your onboard computer, so it just depends on what
What you
apps
put
and
in,
what
what you
upgrades
put
you
in.
put on your
Yes,
brain,
yes.
which is kindergarten, first grade, second grade, all of those are like upgrades. So
Right.
if you're upgrading your brain, then your brain will be proficient in regards to helping you to, navigate through your life. So Anthony teaches, just being quiet and still, which seems like a simple thing, but that's not
really
really that hard.
difficult. It's
That's not really
hard.
that easy to do.
Yes.
Because,
not easy
but it's
to
because of this
do.
world we live in, yeah.
It's not easy to do because people say, "Can you be simple?" No, be hyper.
Or can you be quiet? Then
No.
as soon as we get up, we turn on the radio, turn on the TV to get some background noise. But for me, my waking ritual is that first hour of waking is quiet. I don't like noise. I like
Good
to
for
just
you.
listen to the music that's in my head that I woke up with. And I think yoga is one of those things
good
that
feeling.
everyone can do. That's why it's so cool when you say it's your practice, like I'm a doctor or something. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah. So if you want your body to be flexible, if you want to benefit from a healthy body, then you have to practice using your body, stretching, and if you never bend over and touch your toes, 3 years from now when you decide to try that,
Might not
that's
be
not
able to
that
do it.
easy,
It's
But if you're doing it every
Yes.
day,
becomes
nothing.
better and better.
It's like these young men, if you do 20 push-ups in the morning, after a while, it's not enough. Your body said, do
I
me
need
30
more.
push-ups in the morning,
I
you
need
know, and then
more.
after a while, come on, man, just give me the 100 push-ups in the morning and go on about your business, because we become accustomed to those things. And I think what Anthony teaches are these things that we think are simple, but actually require our concentration in order to get them right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yes. I
bend over and touch your toes, you know, for one person might mean, you know, falling over on the ground. But for somebody else, it might mean really feeling their body fold in half, you know, like that. So that's the.
I can't imagine it. When you were saying, I was like, yeah.
I remember when I first observed your class, and I was sitting there in Unit 5, and you said, quiet and still. And I said, I'm going to go outside the class and I'm going to try it. And it was quiet, but everything that was going through my head was, I couldn't clear it. It couldn't get, I said, I can't clear my head. You know what I'm saying? And I just noticed when the young men came out, I asked them, I said, how many of you were able to clear your head like he asked you to do, to just be peaceful? You know, and they said, I tried, but I just couldn't. After that, we tried it a couple of times. And eventually, you can stop the noise and the chaos. That
Takes practice.
empowering
Tune
over
it out.
yourself.
Takes practice,
And that's,
yeah.
that's how
Tune it out.
everyone, that's how everyone mind works. So they say you
Yes.
have like 60,000 thoughts that'll come through your mind in one day.
Yes.
And it's the person that practices the yoga that it's like anything else. If you go to the gym and work out, you know, you'll get stronger. And so it's having the techniques to understand, to just be able to watch the thoughts and not be carried away by the thoughts, and giving yourself what we call a mantra. So a mind tool, something that you think about. So even just the simple breathing, and you know, your mind is going to race, and then you just come back to and you focus only on your breathing. And so as you start to do that, you start to close that gap where you can actually stay focused on your breath. It takes time, but you need something that you're concentrating on. So, because the thoughts are going to come. That's how everyone's mind works. But if the longer you sit with it, you know, the more that you'll be able to do it. And that's one of the things that I learned. And I went to, I lived in Niger, in Central Africa for 2.5 years. And that's when I met my first teacher. He wouldn't call himself my teacher, but he was an elder in the village. He was 105 when I met him, Abdul Karim Hassan. 105 when I met him. So
Still getting around, still keen mind.
not getting around, like would whip my behind.
Yeah.
Oh,
Would whip my
yes.
behind. Stanton
Yeah.
had his faculty about him, could tell you what's in the cabinets, what's back there. Oh, that person did this. He.
No else, no
Oh
Alzheimer's.
no, he put his diaper on his shoulder and walk to his
Yes.
farm, work all day, come back.
At 105.
At 105, I met at least 5 people over 100 when I lived in the Sahara Desert.
Still eating off the land.
Because you have to do that to survive. And this person
Yeah.
never saw the inside of a hospital, so I knew right then that just listen to this man. And so for
Yes.
me,
Yeah,
what
the
I'm aiming
wisdom.
at in my life is like, oh, okay, I can be 105 and be like that. But I sat with him and he just said, you know, I had many questions. He said, just be quiet. He said, actually, Sanu Sanu Batahana Zoa, which is house for slowly, slowly. Don't rush to get there because you'll arrive late. And so he was always just telling me, just be slow. Don't ask questions. You know the answer to all your questions. Just sit and breathe and find that God space in you, because that knows everything. And so sitting with this man for 2.5 years, within 4 months, I couldn't even fathom why I was so angry when I was in the States. Like, all with being in college, like, and I thought back, I was like, wow. And I realized that I was giving people my power. So
Yeah.
empowerment yoga. So now I empower myself. I empower these youth that I work with. Like, no, you give me, so, you know, the youth, they cuss me out, they got to go back to the cells. Like, but you're giving me all your power. And one of the kids remarked, he's like, he called me everything but a child of God, day in, day out. And one day he just looked at me and said, you don't get angry. You don't get mad. I said, you can't have that.
Showing
can't-
them
you
that they
can't have
can
that.
try to
That
think about.
That is such
Outside
a
the box.
powerful statement, powerful. I
So
tell
angry.
the kids, or at least I used to tell the kids, you don't let anyone else control your destiny, which is the same premise,
Yeah.
but the empowerment that you're saying, it gives them such an idea that I'm getting angry and you're not fazed by it.
And I'm
It
telling you,
doesn't bother me.
I'm
by
actually in
saying that.
control right now. He's like, you're not in control. I was like, look, I'm calm and collected. You're going back to your room, and I'm not going to give you my power. So, and the thing is, more so than saying it, like he realized, months in, months out, that I would not get angry. So he was actually seeing, it wasn't something I was talking about, but it was something that I was doing. And I kept telling him, I said, you know what? You can say what you want. I said, but I'm going to hold this love for you right here. So say what you want, go back, and when the dust clears and the smoke settles,
It's
I'll be
still
here for you.
there.
I'm going to still be here for you.
But you know what? The kids were so angry and they kept fighting and they didn't want to come and they didn't want to come. Pretty soon they just let go and they started, okay, I want to go. I'm going to give them a chance. And then they wanted to come more and more.
More
And
and
then
more,
once some of them
yes.
came, everybody else was like, whoa, if he's going, I need to check this out. And it was really interesting at how you drew them in and they would just sit and be quiet and listen. And some of them wanted to clown you and do it. And after a while, the kids like, get out. You leave.
Right.
Because
The
I want to
kids
get
start
doing it.
right.
the kids
Because I
start
want to
start
get
doing
this.
that.
What he's trying
Yes.
to show us
Right.
Yeah.
how to
you
relax.
beat me out of my time now.
Well,
Yeah.
what they realized is that they had other journeys ahead of them, and they needed to know how to relax. They were getting ready to do some serious time. They needed the tool you were trying to give them to get through this journey. And it was amazing how many people started wanting to come. If you were going to come, okay, is he coming? Okay, I want to come out when he's there, trying to listen and get everything that you were teaching them and hold on. Some of them have moved on, but they remember that.
Right.
If those boys are smart, if they're aware of that feeling that comes over them when they close that door and they are put into that cage,
Yes.
then they realize that Anthony is showing them how to do a Mandela on that cage.
That's right.
So
Yes.
Escape.
they have your body in that cage,
not
but
your
they do
mind.
not have you in
Yes,
that cage,
yes.
little brother, unless you don't listen to what I'm trying to tell you.
Yes.
You allow.
So it all boils down to that. So it's not like rocket science for them to realize he's trying to set me free in here, because Nelson Mandela, over time, he would go wherever he wanted to go, and
Yeah.
he was
In his
still in that cage, but his mind was still in the world. It was
He
affecting
was,
the guards. It
yes.
was
Right.
affecting Winnie. It was affecting all of the people of South Africa and the world. But it was because he was continuing to travel and continuing to be free, even though they had his body in this
in
cage.
his
Physical
cage.
body, his spirit,
didn't have
and
a
his
spirit.
mind was able to go everywhere he
In
wanted
fact,
to go.
you were talking about they had what they call the Mandela factor, and so they would change the guards with more frequency when they were with Nelson Mandela because he would shower them with love. In the midst of his brethren getting beaten
Yes.
down like
Yes.
dogs, he would shower them with love, and they started to soften. The guards
Yes.
started to soften
Yes.
around him.
Because they're
So
humans.
so they call that the Mandela factor. So again, it's a powerful lesson for the kids. Like, you're here physically, but where are you mentally? See, that's what the yoga is all about. So the yoga means union, when the mind, the body, and the spirit are together. So you don't have all this crazy, and that's just pure love, pure consciousness. So when you can be here physically, but my mind could be someplace I'm angry at, your mind is someplace else. But if we get to that present moment, there is no anger, there is no jealousy, there is no hate.
And the real factor on some of our, especially young African American young men, is that they have not experienced what real love is.
Right.
What is it? What is the emotion? One young man told me one time, he says, "Mama," because they call me Mama, "Mama, do you know I never even had the idea that anybody would love me. And I just started crying. And he says,
Yeah.
why are you crying? I said, because you haven't at all felt that somebody ever loved you.
They were telling they stupid and no
And you
good.
know, and it just
Telling
is
his
so
brain
tragic.
Yeah.
And his brain started believing it.
right.
And he did believe it. And that's,
Yeah.
he was angry. He says, I'm angry all the time,
I like
Yeah.
you know.
I like to share this story. And what
Yes.
really, again, so that time in Kenya, that's exactly what happened to me. And I turned 22 in that village. And it was a storybook welcoming. These brothers were just honoring me, said, welcome home, my brother, this and that.
Yeah.
And one of the guys, Akwade, he said, okay, I'm gonna come by, you know, your hut, and I'm gonna take you someplace. So he came by, and we're walking to this place. I'm in this African village, and he reached and held my hand.
Yeah.
Oh,
And, okay, I'm 20, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was very uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And so I
that's
said,
amazing.
I act like a fly. I was like, oh, that fly. And I
You.
pulled away to get my hand away.
Yes,
And then
yes.
he grabbed my hand again. And so then
Because
I'm
they
like, I
hold
said,
hands in the
okay, let me
village.
just kind of go with this. I said, I'm really
Yes.
uncomfortable.
Yes.
Nobody's kissing me, anything like that. But I'm going to just go with this. And so we got to the place we we're going. There's just brothers just sitting around, talking, holding
Yes.
hands. And so over time, I mean, I opened up. And so the yoga is me being able to let go of my preconceived notions, my
Notions.
fears, my
Yes,
phobias,
yes.
to
Yes.
get that unconditional love that was
Yes.
coming at me. And so that's where the yoga began. I said, brothers have got to experience this and see this, because over here, you know, we just have, you know, 3 people died yesterday here in
Yes.
Oakland. So we just ended, and I was telling the kids in juvenile halls, like, think about this and think about where you are right now. How far away from the source we are in terms of loving each
That's
other.
right. That
And
is so
that is the crux of the
But
yoga.
They need to get back to that, because I remember as a child, my father would kiss my brothers on the forehead, and I thought that was so special. And I was asking my husband about that, and he said, I can't do it. He wasn't comfortable with that, but I thought that was so special to get to that. And my sisters and I held hands and walked down the streets, and people would look, and I'm like, what's up? You know, because we were so comfortable with loving each other like that, that I wish some more people could just have that.
Yeah.
You know, you
That's
think
special.
about,
Well, those things, if you're not taught those things, then you
Yes.
don't know
exactly,
those
you don't
things.
know them.
Yes.
So
yes.
a lot of our mothers and fathers are teaching their children skills to help them survive in the urban jungle.
Yes.
So
That
you
is
know,
a
you
clear
can't-
statement, yes.
not use those lessons too. They're going to need those lessons as well, but there is going to have to be something installed in the child as they're growing up, so that they do understand how to code switch
Yes.
from that defensive posture to that open posture, so that they can receive love.
Okay, now he made a good point, is when he said his caregiver was illiterate. She didn't know that she was illiterate. All she knew is that she was trying to teach this young man how to
How to
survive.
survive.
She knew that he needed to read, because she couldn't read.
Sure.
She wanted him to get that, but all this attention deficit, she not
she
having
wasn't
it.
She
having it.
wanted to teach you about I think the integrity of being who you are.
Yeah.
You know, to me, integrity for an African American man is the only thing that you have that can anyone ever take away from you.
No, absolutely.
And I feel, as she felt, that you get the things that you need to do to make you what you're gonna be.
No, absolutely.
And that's how she had to make it
And she
happen.
did not, you know, spare the rod, spoiled the child.
No, she
Because
didn't
when
do
I
that.
came to her, I had this habit of fainting. If you told me no, I couldn't do something, I would stomp a hole in the floor or the earth, and I would faint. And so
Faint on faint on that whooping you get.
No, that's what happened. So
That's
I
right.
did that once, and so she's like, okay, this is something new. And she just looked at it. Second time I did it, when I regained consciousness, she had this switch
Brought you out of it.
whipping my
No,
behind.
and put him right
And
back
guess
in
what?
one.
I
never fainted
And
again.
that's it, that's it.
It was
All them
miraculous.
games.
I was
Yeah,
cured
she
of
cured
faint
it. Oh, I know how to
and
cure
ADHD.
that.
It was miraculous.
She
That
cured
was,
you.
wasn't it?
She cured
Yes.
you.
So I see these kids.
Right.
So now I got, yeah, it's like, better
Right.
sit down.
Right.
Play that
And,
with somebody
they'll
else.
tell you the label so quick. Well, you know, I have ADHD and I'm this and that. I say, okay,
am too.
now, okay.
I have an IEP, thank
Right.
you.
and they just so proud to throw that out
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And I was like, no, go sit
Because,
down.
you know,
I'm
basically
crazy
the
too. Mhm.
society has made them have that crutch.
Sure.
And they use that
Absolutely.
crutch.
Okay.
But unfortunately, the real crutch that we have, that you have, and I say that all four of us here have, is that we got the crutch to saying we love you and we'll crush your face.
Absolutely.
We'll get you.
Now
You're
you-
not gonna play
You
that.
know what?
Absolutely.
We've been talking, but I know you have a website. We haven't talked about that and your phone number in case somebody want to get in touch with you.
So my website is empowermentyoga.com. So all one word, lowercase. And my number is on the website, but I'll give it to you. It's 510-837-5004.
Your funding for your empowerment yoga, where does it come from?
So I collaborate with different organizations and I get paid by these organizations that I work with.
Those of you out there, I'm quite sure, Anthony, that you would appreciate very much if those of you out there who can see the power in what empowerment yoga does, what Anthony Williams wanted to have when he started it. And your donations are acceptable, aren't they?
Oh, they're very acceptable.
Are they tax deductible? Do you
They
have
can
a
be tax
501c3?
deductible, yes. Yes.
These are tax deductible donations. Please, we ask this when Bonnie and I always say that we are looking for people who care enough to help the people who do care. And if you're one of those, please, again, Anthony, could you give them the information?
So empowermentyoga.com. And my number is 510-837-5004.
All of you, I think that we have put love out there, and let's hope that all of you out there felt what we have here and what empowerment yoga is doing for our children in juvenile hall and in other agencies. You do go out,
Yes, I do.
and if they need to call you, the number we were given, please call.
Okay.
We thank you, and we'd like to say anything.
But
As
do
you
you
go.
have a website?
You know, if you're interested in having the 180-degree program come to your school and teach your children social emotional learning, you can go to our website at 180degrees.com.
Okay.
Thank you, blessings, and remember, only you can be the one to give back.
And thank you so much for coming and
Thank
being
you.
our
Oh,
guest.
our
This
pleasure,
was
for sure, for sure.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you for having
Wonderful,
us.
baby.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so
Blessings.
much. Thank you. Thank you so
Blessings,
much.
blessings.
Thank
Give
you
me
so
Yes.
much.
some.
Yeah,
Let me
give
touch
me
you, make
some.
sure you're in the dream.
Oh, I'm not a this big old
But
thing in
this
the
was
ring.
wonderful.
Oh yeah, this was very, very nice. It flowed. It flowed.
Okay.
It was.
Yeah.